it's very competitive. And when we lose the day, to me, that's like a shot in the heart, you know? It's like we lost the game. So there's a lot more than that because it's practice. You want to learn. But at the end of the day, we're out here competing, and the goal is to, you know, have more good plays than the other team. And in that case, that's the defense right now. And I feel like we can compete even more and even better. But a lot of it's just execution and the X's and O's and figuring out how to communicate with each other. So better days ahead, but, you know, we're in the start of this thing, and we got to get it going. But we just take it day by day.
Okay, I think Mac Jones betrayed some frustration there. He expressed it as, you know, as delicately as he could. You guys have been down there. You've watched it. Is it as bad as it seems?
Yeah, it's been terrible. It's been a train wreck. I mean, it really has. I mean, look, we haven't seen their passing offense yet. I assume we're going to see that more this week with practices on Monday and Tuesday ahead of the preseason game. And I think that'll be fine because their passing offense is their traditional passing offense. What we're talking about is the first couple downs. It's the run game. It's the outside zone running scheme with the little play action passes and boots off of that. It's a first two down offense. And that part has been awful. I mean, it's just, they can't block it. They can't block anything, Mike. Every play, there's guys in the backfield. Damian Harris gets the ball. There's already guys greeting him. I mean, it has been really bad.
What do you think, Ted?
Yeah, it's the offensive line, which I thought was probably one of the stronger units going into the season. It looks like it's in disarray right now, and partly I think it's because of this new scheme. They're trying to figure it out, and they just they can't seem to get it going. And you asked me, last weekend on this show, Mike, how does Mac Jones look? And I kind of hemmed and hawed because it's hard to evaluate Mac Jones right now when the offensive line is as leaky as it is, and let's be honest, a lot of the receivers are having difficulties getting open. So he's holding the ball and he doesn't look as sharp. But this shift to a new offensive scheme really seems to have everybody on that offense just not firing on all cylinders, and they got to figure it out soon.
Will Bill stick with it?
I don't think that he will. I mean, look, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how better. But I don't think and I've heard Ted's comments. Yep. I've heard your comments. I do not agree that if this continues to look the way that it does, Bill is not going to stick with it. It's just like last year on defense. They realized at a certain point we can't play man-to-man anymore. We can't cover. So what do? They went to zone around the Dallas game, after the Dallas game, and that got them back on track. They started to win games. He is not going to stay wedded to this. He is not an idiot. He is very smart. And if it continues to look like this, and right now at this point, 8 practices in, absolutely nothing works on offense.
And I have to respectfully, my man, I have to disagree with you and both of you because I think you feel the same way. I think, Michael.
I do.
This offense isn't something that you try out and you do hybrid and you do elements of it. You either do it all or nothing. So if it's not looking good, guys, they've been doing this offense all the way going back to all OTAs the last 4 months. It's new terminology. It's a new playbook. It's a completely new system. If it doesn't look good going into weeks 2 and 3, you can't just revamp it. It's too hard to go back.
They've asked this thing the whole time. From offseason, I watched them do the drills, and they're bringing out the angle things, and I'm like, yeah, this is what you do to get ready for it. They haven't repped it enough. They practiced 2 days in pads last week, and then take it off and get in shorts on the 3rd day. Like it's Club Med or something like that. And then, God forbid, they practice on consecutive days this weekend. They had Saturday off. They take Sunday off. Now they're not practicing till 3 p.m. on Sunday like Bill needed a 3-day weekend. Like, no, they don't have enough practice time to get it ready. They don't. And so you have to make a change. They can go back to their old offense very quickly. They don't have the coaches to install it. They don't have the players on the offensive line to run it. They're not getting enough reps in practice. They have to abort. They're going to have to abort at some point.
But if they abort, they go back to the old offense. God, I mean, it's Matt Patricia and Joe Judge teaching the old offense that Josh McDaniels was.
At least they've seen it before.
I guess
they've seen it for 20 years working here on the staff. The other one, they're just watching on film and printing off sheets off the internet.
You said that if man-to-man's not working, they'll go to zone. That's totally different. Going from zone to man to zone, or going from a
not 3-4
if you suck
at man and then go to zone.
I'm telling you,
if you can't block anybody in man, go to zone.
I'm just telling you, this system I think is here to stay, and I don't think they are going back no matter how bad it looks.
Why'd they do it? Why did Bill change his?
Well, there's a couple I know you think it's because of the coaches. I don't. Bill has tried to do this for years. He has tried to move the Patriots that way because he knows the difficulties that it presents to defensive coordinators and the players. It puts them in binds. It is difficult for the defense. And he pushed in the past, whether it's Dante Scarnecchia, Ivan Fears, Josh McDaniels, to do that. But those three guys, the old guard, would always push against it. We don't have the personnel. We don't have the time to install it. It could be a big waste of time. And so Bill would relent. Now all three are gone, and now replaced by yes men, so that's why they're doing it. Bill has wanted to do it. Now he has the guys who say, yes, Bill, whatever you say, Bill.
I think it's just an easier system to learn. It doesn't look that way right now. I mean, it looks like they don't know what they're doing out there. But once it's in place and it's ingrained in the system and the guys have been repping it for a long time, it is an easier system. The college game it's not about reading defenses, making adjustments. It's about give me the call, tell me where to go. And so it's an easy system, not only for the quarterback, but for the coaches, the players that are running it as well. And so to me, at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing they're going that way. It's just the learning curve and the growing pains they're going through is going to be painful right now.
It's a good system, and it's a good way. What Ted is correct. If you have the players who can run it.
Yep, you got to have the players.
You know, David Andrews is not an ideal fit. Mike Onwenu is not an ideal fit. So is Trent Brown. Like, really, if Bill really wants to go for this, if this is what he wants to do, he thinks this is the direction for this franchise 2 years out. It's not going to work this year. Guess what? Trade David Andrews to Tampa Bay. He'd probably be happy about it. Trade Mike Onwenu.
Would look good now.
Yeah, I wish we had Shaq Mason.
Yeah,
but, you know, put Cole Strange at center. Put Arlington Hambright, one of the young kids, at right guard. Get rid of Michael Onwenu and put Drew Desjardins, the Canadian kid, at left guard. Now you have a zone blocking line. That's what you have. So go with it. Stop mismatching personnel and coaching and all this stuff. It's a mess.
There's one guy on this offensive line, Michael, that is been versed in this scheme. And that's Cole Strange, the rookie.
Yep.
He ran it in college, so he's really the only guy, and he's a rookie, and he's getting his ass kicked because he's a rookie and he's still trying to figure it out. But he's the only one that has any experience in that kind of system.
Ted, are you worried about buy-in from the players?
I think so. I'm always watching buy-in. I'm always conscious of the buy-in, and so it's very, very important. I've always kind of been focusing on that ever since Tom Brady left. What is the buy-in factor? Bill's got to reestablish credibility with his players. And that is always kind of, I think, a push and pull with Bill. You saw last year. They won 7 games in a row, and it looked like there was complete buy-in. And then they lost 4 out of the last 5, and you heard some things that maybe things weren't so good behind the scenes. And so it's kind of the same thing right now. You can tell the guys, the most loyal Patriots, like a Mac Jones, is a little bit nervous about what's going on right now. So I am worried about the buy-in early in the season.
Yes, I'm 100% worried about the buy-in, and I think it has to be by the end of the Panthers week. They're going to have 2 joint practices with the Panthers. They're going to have the preseason game. If it's not working by then, if the offense is not working, they're going to have a real problem on their hands. I think at that point, with the Raiders joint practice, the preseason game, then there's a long layoff before the season opener. I still think there's enough time to go back to the old system. I would say the Panthers game is the final grade on whether they do this or not.
All right, I've heard both of you are interested, have made note of the practice schedule. You just went into a little bit, Greg, but Ted, what do you think's going on here with all these days off and going out of pads back into shells? What do you make of the way Bill's handled this?
Yeah,
so far?
This is really surprising, and I'm glad Greg is on this because if you've been around football as long as we have, the schedule is unusual, and it's just when we went out there Wednesday, we were expecting a 3rd day of padded practice. He was in, not only were they in shorts, but it was non-competitive. All right, look, the game that they had, the scrimmage they had in the stadium on Friday for the fans, okay, that they were in full pads. That's usually a scrimmage. It was a walkthrough tempo, I heard. And then they had the last 2 days off. So the first 12 days of training camp, in the last 7 days, they've had 4 days of non-competitive practices, 4 out of the last 7 days. That's valuable time that you're missing by not going harder than they are. And so, to me, maybe it's a reset. Bill feels like, you know what, we got to give these guys time. They're not fresh. They're not focused. And so he feels like he needs to give them the extra time so that when they do get out there, it's a more crisp practice. That's the only thing I can come up with, Greg.
What do you think?
It's absurd. I mean, it's absurd to start padded practices on Monday, go Monday and Tuesday, and then they're in shorts on Wednesday, and then you're in pads again. Every other camp, anytime you do it, 4 straight days of pads, then you go into the stadium practice, take it easy, day off on Saturday, you're back on Sunday. The Patriots can't even do that. So I have no idea what they're doing. If they had a veteran team where everybody, it's all the same scheme and Tom Brady's out there and, they don't really need anything, okay, fine. You need to rep this blocking scheme to get it to work. You can't just think about it.
Yeah.
You actually have to do it and get angles and react. How's this going to work? How's this? I don't get it.
This practice schedule looks like you would have a practice schedule for a veteran team that's got it, that's figured it out.
It's coming off a Super Bowl
and you're throwing them a
championship.
bone because they went to the Super Bowl and had to play longer than them. Not a team that's young and you're not sure what you have yet, and that is not figuring it out in the start of camp. You don't give these guys the days off, but that's what Bill's doing.